06. Great. Welcome everyone to the Summer Seattle Flow Arts Collective Board of Directors meeting. This is the meeting where we share everything with the community that we're doing and also vote on important decisions if there are any to be made. I'm really excited to hear about all the cool programs that have been going on, which you all know about. Hey, I'm being recorded. And so first I want to do roll call and then we'll go approve this agenda and then move on. So roll call. I know that Kat is not present in this board meeting. She sent in some notes, which I've included in the agenda. Arlene is here. Arlene is our executive director. Myself, I am Blaze. I am the board chair. Desert is here. Allison is here. Roxy, no, Roxy's on the board. Tuck is here. Ariana is here. Zach is here. All right. I wish I could sort by board or not, right? Okay, so that is our roll call. And the committee members present, we have Tori, Roxy, and Todd. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Woohoo! And Zach, if you need me to slow down, just shout. Cool. All right. Well, so we have this agenda here. I did not put any new business on here since I sent out the call, and no one else has either. So I expect there's just gonna be a lot of info exchange here. But also we have some topics to discuss. So great. Hopefully we'll get all that in the notes. Zach is taking notes, and this is Zach's second board meeting of taking notes with us. And so third? Okay, you're a pro. I don't need to slow down for you. I'm gonna speed up. Sweet. So could we get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Any seconds on the motion to approve the agenda? Seconded by
me.
All right. Any discussion on the motion to approve the agenda? All right, all in favor, say aye. All against, say nay.
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, the ayes have it, and the motion has been approved. We have this agenda. Great. So, our traditional first action here is to approve the last board meeting minutes, which I've linked there. But also, we meet in between board meetings through our open and closed sessions. So at the bottom of the agenda, I've linked to all those other agendas as well, in case you want to pour through the notes. Of course, if those notes have mistakes or whatever, please comment in them right away, or email the scribe. But with that, I think we should have a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting.
So moved.
Any seconds on the motion?
Seconded.
All right. Discussion on the motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Did we include any AI stuff in that one? Or was that the first? No. Okay. All right, all in favor of the motion? Any other discussion?
Aye.
All in
Aye.
favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion passes, and we've approved those meeting minutes. Great. So, we are going to go into our department style updates, but if there's any topics we need to put on the agenda during that, we can put them in this unfinished or new business section here. It's appropriate, go back to them. So without further ado, I would like to give it over to Arlene to update us on some things going on.
Hello, it is programs. This is time for programs. I'm gonna do a little run through of all of them. Yeah, okay, great. So I'm gonna start with Flow Shop. We're still flow shopping. It's great. We've had really strong attendance this summer. We're something like 30 to 45 range most weeks. Sometimes there's fewer, like 20, 25-ish. But it's been great. Yeah, lots of new people Everyone loves the park. We are unfortunately at the time of year where we need to start making our plans to go indoors around the fall equinox. And it's still a fun adventure of trying to find a place. Finney is not available. I'm probably going to book them now, starting for December, because I just like there are things that I dislike about Finney, and also like it's big enough, and I just would love to find a better space, and like y'all have heard me talk about this so many times. It is very challenging. I haven't heard back from Yesler. I emailed them like a week and a half ago and then just sent a, hey, remember that I emailed you email to them yesterday. So we'll see if that gets back. The people at Finney gave me a list of potential of other like properties that they manage or other like community spaces that they manage. So I'm going to go through that list and see if there's anything that works, and also contact Boys and Girls Club of Seattle, because that is one stone that no one suggested until Cassandra suggested it. So I'm going to turn it over and see what kinds of bugs are underneath. As ever, if any of you like has been sitting on a space that could have like 30 flow artists in it inside at the same time, that's centrally located with parking and is accessible and has windows that we can open to ventilate for COVID, and you just like haven't told me, this would be a great time. Yay, Flow Shop. That's kind of it. Does anyone have questions about Flow Shop or things? Blaze does.
On the space hunt, some studios like are big enough and everything, but they don't allow like basically staffs is what I'm gonna say. Like, has there been thought to putting workshops in those spaces if they're potentially usable, but not for like an open jam? Like,
Not
think-
yet, because my focus is getting a spot for the open jam.
yeah,
Um,
I feel like we have a lot of like
however,
near misses that are just like wrong in a few ways, you know, but
most
need
of the
everything.
places are just like definitely not large enough is like the biggest challenge.
Okay.
Or they don't do weekly rentals, or they cost $150 an hour. So
Yeah,
those are kind of like,
what we're hitting.
yeah,
Okay.
it's less about what we're doing, or yeah, they don't care about the props, they care about the stuff. So
Okay.
there are a
Thanks for
lot of
clarifying.
places we could do workshops, but I don't have capacity to plan those without Flow Shop having a regular home.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Thank you.
yeah. Seattle Spin Jam, this will be a quick update. I haven't heard anything on that. There were plans to start like a spreadsheet so people could fill in dates they were available. I sent an email asking for an update yesterday, and so we'll see. I'm assuming that that probably isn't going to happen this late in the year, which is fine. And maybe it will happen some other time, which would be awesome. And we will celebrate when that is. That's that. I'm gonna pass it to Tori if she's ready to talk about the East Side Spin Jam.
I've been here the whole time. I don't know if anyone gets that reference. Anyways, I am really happy about how East Side Spin Jam is going right now. You probably heard we just moved to Crossroads Park. We'll be there today. Our next workshop is on the 10th with Andrew Johnson, or sorry, Josh Anderson, Andrew Johnson. I don't know. I'm still waking up. Josh Anderson, who will be teaching poi spinning, and he has a workshop called Seriously Silly Poi Spinning. He has like 15 years of experience spinning poi, was like one of the original contributors to Home of Poi, if you know those forums. So I really recommend his class. I've been learning a lot from just talking to him in the last few weeks, and I'm super excited for that. So yeah, we've been having like up and down with the numbers lately. I think weekends are a little more tricky just because there's so much happening right now. Like there's festivals, there's art fairs, yada, yada, yada. But we've kind of varied between like 6 and 15 people since going outside for summer. We will be back indoors in October. And we will be at the Crossroads Community Center, which is conveniently located in the park that we are moved to. So that's super exciting. And that's that 5,600 square foot gym, which is really cool because if we have workshops, that means we can still have jam. So if it's like a prop that people aren't really interested in, they can still come and just vibe on the other side of the gym, which I think is really neat. And the way sound carries in there is perfect for it too. It doesn't bounce around. So it'll work just fine. So yeah, that's the exciting updates about ESJ right now. Not too much going on other than workshops and moving indoors eventually. Oh, and then any questions?
I got one.
Yeah,
What is the date for Josh's workshop?
August 10th.
August 10th. Thank you.
I have a question. Have we
Yeah.
considered like signage, like next to where we are in the park, so that people feel empowered to join, maybe?
I would be happy to receive signage. We don't have anything yet.
We could have a sandwich board somewhere, but I don't like. No.
If there's, it probably would be good if we had like more than one sandwich board, so we're not passing that back and forth.
Yeah.
Because I can't make regular trips into Seattle.
Fair. Yeah.
There
Oh, but just
are
an idea for the jams.
I think that's a great idea. I would love to have one.
there are so there's only one sandwich board. Yeah, so there are lawn signs that are branded. They don't have the come play with us like invitation, which I do really like on the sandwich board. I would like to buy some other sign. So do we want to get another sandwich board? I don't know how much they are offhand. Probably like a couple hundred max.
It's a couple hundred to get them printed and everything, I think.
Tori,
that'd be
would you
great.
prefer a sandwich board or because we have like signs that just stick in the grass, the ones for the workshop zones at Northwest Flow Fest.
Honestly, those would be better because they're lightweight and the equipment I'm starting to carry is becoming a little more heavy now that we also have the boombox. So
Yeah.
yeah, those might be better and probably a lot cheaper.
And I already have 7.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll take one of those.
Easy. Okay. I will, next time I go to the storage unit, I will grab you one.
Okay. Yeah, they're between Colin and I hosting too. We've been passing back and forth the boombox and the Venmo code stuff and the tip jar, donation jar. But yeah, so if we can keep it light, it'll be easier for me to pass that back and forth with people who are hosting.
We can do it. Thanks, Tori.
Thank you.
This is a surprise. I did not talk to them about in advance, but Ariana, do you want to do an update for the fire jam? I have notes if you don't want to.
Sure. And you can fill in
Sure.
since this is a surprise. We had the first jam at Northwest Flow Fest. It was really great. If I remember right, we had 80 people sign in, which was pretty cool. I don't know how many spins we had. I don't know if you have that number, Arlene. It was in Volunteer Park. We are looking to do the next one on September 21st. The sign up form is out there. We are going to attempt to try out a new map. So that is being worked on, a circle instead of a rectangle. So that'd be cool if that goes through. What else are they?
We decided to add two more to the insurance policy. So that'll have up to 8 people spinning at a time instead of 6, because there was a pretty long wait time. It wasn't actually terrible as far as wait times at a fire circle go, but it could be shorter or not exist. We also purchased a new speaker for that jam, and I want it to be louder. So I'm returning it. Hopefully. It's so big and I can't they will only come pick it up. I can't like drop it off, and I have like one day that this will work. So cross your fingies that this will get returned. And then some random person who showed up to DJ Flow Shop unexpectedly recently had a JBL that had like better quality sound and was louder and had like stupid
An air horn.
So
Uh,
I have, sorry.
yeah, and had like stupid air horn feature and wheels, and it was lighter and smaller than the Sony. What does Tuck say?
I was gonna say, so I have this pair of portable speakers that are very easy to link up. I think they're louder than a JBL. And they're like pretty great. You can link them up and like you get like pretty loud surround sound, and they're very reasonably priced. So I mean, I could like maybe bring them to something to test them out if we want to set that up. And we can see if that's something we would be interested in too.
Who makes them? Do you know?
It's a brand called Iomos. They're each one I think is a 20-watt speaker. They're like pretty solid.
Sweet.
Okay, I haven't seen a Tribit before, but that sounds cool too.
The Tribit,
What's the name again?
Iomos, I typed it in chat.
Great.
I think would still be too small for a fire jam, is my hunch. I could be wrong about that. I haven't heard it.
Oh, wait.
test.
I think I spelled it wrong. It's actually AOMAIS.
AOMAIS.
AOMA.
Must. Okay, great.
And what's the commentary on the Tribit as an option, Arlene?
I'm not sure if it would be loud enough. I'd be down to give it a shot and see what it's like when it's like full up. It looks too small to me, but I might just be biased against its small size, which is ironic.
And we currently have the new speakers of Sony.
Yeah, the one we got is a Sony. Yeah, and Tribit only made like smaller speakers. They don't make like stacks. When we looked. So speaker hunt continues. There will be sound. I have faith in our ability, and like in the worst case scenario, we can always like borrow speakers for the 21st jam, but I think that we have plenty of time to like figure something out that that works a bit better. There's also the sound box is also like an option to go back to. Speakers. And then I have one other note, but I wanted to talk about it when Desert talks about money. Other fire jam things.
Is there I mean, for the fire jam, I guess specifically, but for all the events generally, like an after event report template that's used to capture, you know, some of the things that are good to know in a doc?
I don't think there's not a standard template for
Right.
that.
There is for the like number of people, amount of fuel used, cost and all that, there is a spreadsheet. Which is bundled with, it's a tab in our participant list spreadsheet. And then, yeah, there's no template, but Z does have a document that has a list of notes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think each of our programs has its own reporting for events. That is, some of them, like the Eastside Spin Jam and Flow Shops, I think are maybe the exact same because they're kind of the same program, but no standard one. Okay. We got us Northwest Flow Fest update. I will preface this with some of the numbers have been a little bit confusing, but I think that we figured it out finally. I don't think that all of the money has come into SFAC yet, or maybe it has. Okay, so yeah, we got all the money from Eventbrite, which is great. The total revenue for FlowFest this year was $8,007. That includes 5,475 in workshop passes, purchased either before the event or at the event. $310 in donations at checkout on Eventbrite. So there's like a little thing where you can add. Did I say the numbers wrong, Desert, already? I see.
I just think that the 300 that you're talking about is included in the 54.
I didn't think it was.
But I only think that because we only get that single type of transaction from Stripe. We can dig into it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's something like that. There are 222 in vendor fees. A lot of our vendors are, what do you call them? Also teaching, and so they don't pay vendor fees. That's like a little perk. And then $2,000 from For Culture in grant funding for that event. So that all looks great. Our total expenses are something like 6,672, but that number is not final yet. Cassandra and I have been going back and forth a little bit on her compensation. But that's great. We did the thing. It did not cost us money. We love that. Zach.
Just trying to get all the numbers correct here. So the final revenue thing you mentioned was what and how much money?
The final, wait.
So you said workshop passes, donations at checkout, vendor fees, and
$2,000 from For Culture grant.
great. And
For
the
Culture.
total expenses were 6672.
Currently.
Great.
Yes. There's a couple we did like, so there were some highs, there's some lows. We didn't meet our goals. The goals, I wanted to sell 200 workshop passes this year and we did not. We sold less than last year, which was interesting. I think that obviously it was like fine, and so that's fine. But we had it on 4th of July weekend, which was sort of like, I don't know. That's when it was. It also conflicted with another festival. We had 3 of our instructors leave Any Patch of Grass, which is a newer festival, to come teach at our event. So I didn't know that that was dueling weekends, and I also didn't know that that was dueling interest. It was also the same day as Odessa playing the Gorge, which was like not great for us. And we also did not have Drex this year or someone similar. So this year I opted to have all local talent. So everyone was from the Northwest, which I thought was really great. It's Northwest Flow Fest, so I really loved that. But I think that next year I will probably have one or two like big name out of towners who are likely to pull a little harder. Because I think there were people who bought tickets last year just because Drex was there. And also, I still want it to be stacked with Northwest talent because we have like buckets of talent and I want to show off our people because they should be shown off. Oh, and then we also, I don't know if there was an impact. So in previous years, there's always free workshops. And in previous years, there's been like free workshop time slot. So like whatever, 5 o'clock workshops are all free. And this year we did it differently so that there's one workshop zone that is free all day. Personally, I would take selling fewer workshop passes for making the festival more accessible in that way. It's all like beginner classes that we put in that slot. So it's like really just like gives people an easy entrance to get into the festival. If they're like just walking through the park or don't already do it and just want to try it out. So I will keep that even though it maybe loses us a little money because I think it fulfills the mission and I like it. And on the flip side, the event still rocked. The most common piece of negative feedback was it was really hot, which is like, you know, we can't control the weather. We will someday, but not now. There were some additions people would like to see that I liked, including like a mixer or some sort of icebreaker for people who are newer to the community. So trying to like dream up what that might look like for next year. I thought that was a great idea. Adding a land acknowledgement before the show, which I think is a great idea. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then the other thing I want to do better next year is have flyers earlier in the game so that we can bring them to other events. Sometimes things just happen the way they do. And that's my Northwest Flow Fest event report for you all. Zach.
Your highs from Northwest Flow Fest were that the complaints were minimal. What are some actual highs?
No, it slapped.
Great.
That's the high. Yeah, no, the show was great. The free workshop zones, I really liked that. I thought that was a high. I don't know, specific highs. It was
The
good.
free workshops were well attended, or
Yeah, all the workshops were well attended. We had an emergency and it was fine. People stepped up to teach workshops that they were totally unprepared to teach until 5 minutes before it started. But that's our people, and they're skilled. Is that? Yeah. Solid poi schedule, agreed. Yeah.
thanks. I just wanted to have some of the positive things on the list too, because it was just like positive. We only had these complaints, and I'm like, come on, you can do better for positive. Come on.
That is what I put more in. Yeah, more double staff. Yeah, there's always like, oh my gosh, y'all, trying to make that schedule is such a freaking obnoxious task. It's like, and also everyone should always apply to teach at festivals because whatever you think about yourself and your knowledge and your like celebrity or whatever, you don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and having more applicants is always helpful, even if it's also hard because saying no to people is like the worst. because I would like to have everyone teach, and I would like to pay you all $1 million to do it. Blaze, is that a hand?
Yeah, so compared to last year, organizationally and stuff, was this easier, harder, about the same? We made some changes, right?
I think it was easier. Adding
That's a good thing.
Ariana, yeah, adding Ariana was really helpful. I loved that.
Right.
And yeah, especially having 3 people like on Saturday was really, really nice. And it also made sense to have Ariana because they're like also with the fire jam. So that was like, I didn't think about that at the time, but that was like a nice tie-in that made those 2 events more together, because it's the Northwest Flow Fest Fire Jam, but it's also still the community fire jam. It's kind of 2 programs in a trench coat. And also I just like knew what to expect this year with the amount of time and effort that it takes to make decisions. Because it's yeah,
It's a lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
it takes a lot of time. So
well, that's
yeah,
great.
it was great. That was Zach, that was a good thing.
And
Thank you for telling me the good things that happened.
I think that's all of our programs besides Kindle, our fiscally sponsored program, who, as we discussed earlier, their hoodies pre-order is happening now. They are dope. Buy a hoodie, buy a ticket. I don't want to, I feel sort of, I don't want to, I like have, but yeah, Kindle update, they're doing their thing. I would like for them to speak for them in a different context. Since we don't have a representative here from their directors. But the MOU, Desert and I finished our drafts. I'm going to send it to the director team for them to review. And I also just like want to be realistic in understanding that they are 4 weeks out from that event. And I think it would be cool for us to get this thing signed before the event. And also like the reality of that might be wild from their perspective, with everything else that they have going on right now. So, but that's where that's at. And there's not any like disagreements about how things are going. Like the things that are in the MOU are reflective of the things that are happening. So I don't have like concerns about that. I think there will probably be just like smallish edits and changes that they might suggest. And it's also possible that they'll just accept it as it is, because I think it's pretty ready to go. And then I have another thing related to Kindle that I want to talk about after when Desert talks about money. Does anyone have Kindle questions that I can maybe answer? They are using MacBooks. That is an update, actually. And so that financial tracking process, matching hours, is officially underway, which will hopefully make tax season one button click to provide all of the information that we need to file taxes for all of SFAC, including Kindle, which would be great. And that's the end of programs.
that was very thorough and amazing. I just scroll so far up to find where we started. That's great. So, time check, it's 10:40. We have some other things to talk about, so I would kind of like to go in for another 10 minutes or so and take like a 5-minute bio break. That sounds good to people. Okay, And I guess I'm just going to continue in order. And the next thing is operations on the list, which is kind of vague. So if we instead want to do a different one first, that might make sense. Like finance, maybe. Should we do finance after the break? That might be kind of a larger chunk.
I would do a quick operations.
Okay.
I think there's just a couple things there. I mentioned I want to get some like signs for us. I really we ordered a new pop-up canopy recently. It's the same one that Livy uses, and she's had one of hers for 10 years and is her job is to vend at events, and she uses it all the time. So ours died recently, and I am hopeful and reasonably confident that this will be a better fit for our use and will last us many years to come, which will be great. And I want to get us a better sign. We have just like that small vinyl sign. And I want like a 10-foot long one that fills up the entire like back of the booth. Because I want us to look a little more polished and professional is my goal there. So I might also be getting at some point some other things for the booth, like table covers, like a tapestry that I don't take off of my hallway wall before coming to the event, like that kind of thing, so that we have like dedicated stuff for the booth to look nice. And for everyone who is like the clothing rack that we use for hoops, I found the other piece. I have no idea what happened the number of times that I thought I found the other piece, and it was actually just the first one that I found again. For some reason, there's two now. I'm thrilled. So theoretically, our hoop rack is functional again. Very exciting. Great. I'm glad you're also excited about that. And then the other thing for operations, Kat and I have been working on processes, back-end stuff, and general plans for volunteer recruitment and management and retention. We have another meeting coming up later this month, and I'm excited about that, so that it will hopefully be easier when people say that they want to volunteer. There will be like a place we can send them, and then there will be a process for what happens after they complete the Google form. That is a new and improved Google form that is shorter and less overwhelming than the first one. And that's great. And if anyone is considered wanting to get more involved, we are also specifically going to be recruiting more board members. Some of our people's terms are coming up, and also it's nice to have different people involved. More and different brains is good. So if that's something you're thinking about, you can talk to me or any of the other board members to learn more about it. And yeah, more info on that to come. Yes, Zach.
Just on like board recruitment, I think it's always good to just mention that even if you're looking around the room and being like, I don't have the skill sets of like this person or that person or whatever, the skills that a board is looking for generally aren't the skills already represented on the board. And so there is likely something that you, the listener, to whoever's watching the video or whatever, like has as a skill set that could be useful to the board, because that's how it is. And your skill set might just be availability. Because that's important. And so I just wanted to throw it out there that, like, if you're interested in the board, please approach somebody from the board and have a conversation, because like the skill sets that we already have aren't the ones that we're looking to double up on necessarily. Also wouldn't be bad, but like that's not where we're focused. So boom, board recruitment pitch.
Yes, no, thank you for that, Zach. And also too, like Some of it is like what a board member does is really, really wildly varied. Like some people have like really low commitments and don't do a whole ton, and some people are like doing stuff every day, have like many hours a week. So there's like a lot of different ways to be involved, and having different perspectives and ideas is like part of the richness of a strong board of directors. So like Zach said, you don't have to be some like super experienced whatever or whoever to be able to serve effectively on a board. Honestly, sometimes not having a lot of experience can be a huge benefit, because we can get really like stuck in the ways that we have operated previously, and someone else coming in and being like, why is this way, is sometimes like world changing in ways that really, really mean a lot. So think about it.
I think a
I-
solid half of the board members were not on a board when they joined, or
At
never
least.
been on that, including myself, and I've co-founded. So like, don't use prior experience as your, requirement here. It's not a, like Arlene said, it actually is great if you don't know how that stuff works, because a lot of times it's not what we're doing. I'm gonna talk more about board recruitment before we close the meeting, but yeah, it's gonna spin up.
That's what I got for operations.
Sweet.
So, the website has undergone a bunch of, back-end updates to like plugins and actual WordPress. Our backups, everything's fine, everything's good with the website, but it's probably time for a refresher. Like, just to, give the website a one-over, maybe in our non-active outside season. We can start to focus a little bit on that. Start to talk about engaging a web designer, and having some creative meetings with them. I'd love to see that happen. You're welcome, Tori, no problem. That's it. I don't have a plan. I just have a need, a desire, if you will.
I share it.
To
I'm
be,
just, oh, sorry. I was gonna ask a question, but if you're still going, cool.
sorry, I was an extended pause. I was just gonna say to be like continued once we're probably after like Kindle, right? Because a lot of us are involved pretty heavily in Kindle too, who would be on that team.
Cool. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
I don't know. That was me. Done. Go. All you.
So I was wondering like what the appetite is for like replacing the pictures and assets versus a whole color scheme and all that, right? Because like that, I love the color scheme, please don't. But if we need a bunch of new like hero images and stuff, that actually doesn't seem like a huge amount of work. It's more like the details, right? We have the pieces, it's the working of it, right? Arlene, have like, you know far more about our picture set than I do. What am I saying?
Yes. The yeah. Yes, it's like a not a huge task, but it is also pretty involved, because I also want to rewrite a bunch of the copy, and like
Mm.
I think there's quite a lot actually that needs to happen to the website. It hasn't been updated in like 5 years, right? So like 4.5, almost 5.
Sure.
So it needs some lifting, but it's all good. And Ariana, I would love to talk more about some of the accessibility sections for, are you talking like visual accessibility?
I haven't done a full sweep. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more, but like just at a glance, the light blue is a problem with text. Like
up
that
in
doesn't pass even a little bit.
like up in the
In the blocks where there's text on top of light blue and teal,
Mhm.
does not pass contrast checks, like not close. And that applies to buttons, and yeah, there are a number of things. There are different levels of accessibility. That's basic, but there are also things we could do in general.
I think that seems great. There's like a website, right? Isn't there like a website that you can like send to your website to it and it tells you things? Am I making that up?
There probably is. They're not always. I do it manually at my job. So, but there probably is a website and would catch a lot of things, maybe not all.
Chill. That sounds good. I would love to do that. Or find someone else to fix it because I don't actually know how to do that. Website? Other things? Other operations things on anyone's mind? What's up, Shannon? Chill.
Wanted to say hi.
Glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Hey, like 11th hour invite. Yeah, thanks for everyone, by the way, for rolling in. Not my intention, but it is what happened, so we did it.
All right. So should we do marketing or pause?
I don't really have any updates for marketing.
That's easy. All right. Well, how about we take a little break and come back at 59? 59. 59. All right. We'll see you back in a few minutes. Please go take care of yourself.
Deal. I'm
And
gonna pause
we'll wrap up our meeting.
the recording.
Signing off, y'all. Thank you all.
Okay, later, Roxy. Good to see
I
you.
am also, I'm gonna get ready for jam. Bye.
Have the most fun. Yeah, we'll be back in a few.
Welcome back. We're just waiting on Zach now. Woohoo! Oh, man, Zach has appeared. All right. Well, what's next? Community outreach and finance and development and board. And then where are we going? All right. Let's begin. Community.
Community. I'm not sure what actually necessarily what goes in community outreach, but there's two things I will put there. One of them, there's an event that's happening this coming Thursday that we were invited to do like a SFAC booth at. It was originally a different event and on a different date when I agreed to it, and then I don't know what happened, but now it's this Thursday and it's a different event. I have a conflicting couple things, and so I don't think I can swing it, or I wouldn't be able to like do setup. I don't know if anyone like wants to go get I don't know if anyone wants to set it up who's like in this room. Otherwise, I will just tell them that the date doesn't work. I haven't committed us to this Thursday. I was like, I need to see if that's feasible.
What's the
It's
event?
like grooving for good.
It's similar to Grooving for Good. It's called Flow in the Park, and it's like there's like yoga and a sound bath and DJ. And I think it would be good to for SFAC to be set up by like 6ish, maybe 6:30. But we would probably, but like the other programming is going on until I believe 8, and so that would be when the booth would kind of like become activated. You can email me if people have questions about it. I will probably email this person back by the end of day tomorrow to tell them no or yes. So if anyone's curious, let me know. Should be easy, cool, just like similar to what we do for Park ADM. Just like hanging out and teaching people how to hoop and stuff. What's up, Zach?
So setup would be 6:30. Event starts at 7.
I think it maybe starts at like 6ish.
Oh, starts at 6ish.
Yeah.
The
But
setup by 6:30 goes to like 8.
no, and then it goes into like 10. So there's other programming that's happening until 8. And I forget all of the actual details.
What's the location?
Woodland Park. Woodland Park, Shelter 6, which is a cool spot.
Not
So-
easy for me to get to at that time of day.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Yeah, it's not a huge, yeah, I don't feel bad. They changed the date at kind of the last minute. So if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And that will be okay. In more promising things that will actually happen, Wei, who is the one who brought all of the dragons to Seattle, the Dragon Dreaming, connected me with someone who is in charge of the Seattle Chinese Garden Mid-Autumn Festival. And they want to have us come out and do a similar thing where we would just like have the booth. Maybe there's like 30-minute beginner workshops for our 3 props that we have, the hoop, poi, and juggling balls. And I think that sounds super awesome and a lot of fun. And I'm gonna say yes to this person. That will be on September 14th. So after Kindle, I don't have any more details than that at the moment, but we have a meeting between me and the organizer of that event on the 15th. So I will know more in a couple weeks. And I think that's it. That's it for community outreach, I think.
That's awesome. Any other questions, comments on community outreach?
Date one more time for that for the event with Wei.
September 14th.
Do we know where that is? Or is that still in discussion?
My snarky answer is Seattle. Seattle Chinese Garden is how she like signed the email, and that is a place.
South Seattle College.
Very pretty place.
I agree that it is very beautiful.
Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, ADHD brain grabbed me. What was the location again?
Seattle Chinese Garden is the name of the venue, I guess, or venue, maybe organization. It sounds like there may be also a nonprofit. She was mentioning having not being able to have any brain power to communicate with me until after a fundraiser. And I was like, yes.
That's the mood.
So, yeah. But yeah, I think that seems like a really cool thing to do. So I'm going to say yes. These events are like one of my favorite because they're like really, really fun and easy outreach, and people really enjoy it. And I feel like it really just like plays a beautiful note on top of our mission. Like I really love it. So.
Question. So for staffing that sort of thing, are you looking for volunteers or someone who can do everything, or like what's the sort of
I will
you play there?
I'll definitely be there.
Okay.
And yeah, definitely we'll be looking for volunteers to come chill from our crew.
Okay. But after good.
Maybe after my meeting with her for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Because it'll be like it's like right after Kindle. It's like
We capture, yeah.
6 days after Kindle. So I'll want to have that figured out before I go.
That's a great plan. All right. Any other question, comments on community events and outreach? All right. I would like to switch the order and talk about development because it's sort of phoned in. So is anyone like this plan or not like this plan? Just gonna do it otherwise. Okay, so also Phoenix stepped out for a sec, but all right, so I am Fake Cat and I am reading what she wrote. So for development, your grants, there's several grants going on. The four culture grant, Zach, this is all in the notes on that heading there, so I'm just literally reading it. Yeah. So Arlene to work on reporting for the current four culture grant funding. We think it's due at the end of the year, but we can submit it anytime. And but this is you don't get the money until you receive the report, so you do have to do it. And it's yes, about a little power really. So the grant funds are there to support Northwest Flow Fest. So because that's done, now we can actually do invoicing. Cool. The next round of four culture sustaining support grant funding is the due date of September 4. I think we want to apply, and who can work on this application, it says.
I'm going to be working on that. They just opened the application like 2 days ago.
Sweet. And is
So.
it like the same format as last time? Or?
I haven't looked at it yet. Their email indicated that some of it will be the same, but it sounds like it will be a little bit longer. They emphasized many times their encouragement to start early. So I'll be starting on that this week. Some of our stuff will be repeatable from previous grants. Other of it will not be. They did get a bunch more money, so that's why they said
really?
More money means more scrutiny, but it also means more money. So hopefully we'll be getting a bigger amount. And we've gotten grants from them at least once, like a couple few times. So I'm confident in our
Mhm.
really, I bet we get money.
Sweet. All right. Next grant on here, Tulip Cares. This is Tribal Foundation, I believe. And they have quarterly openings. Limit of up to 8K. I'm not quite sure who's on top of that or what that needs to be for, but so
I
we-
have
Go ahead.
that one. It is in my queue. It's a quarterly application. I'm planning to have that ready by September. And also, if anybody else has wide bandwidth right now, I would hand that off if I could.
For the application.
Yeah.
I am happy to. Let's talk about it. I'd be happy to look at the application and see. I like writing
Cool.
and talking about SFAC.
I need a writer. I'll do the process.
Chill. I'd be down with that. I hate databases.
Yeah, I'll do the process. The writing is not my jam, you know.
Chill.
Sweet. Our powers combined.
I'd love to take a look. I don't know if I want to commit to leading the writing, but soon I will want to do those things again.
I mean, I would definitely be down, especially if we were to like schedule something where I was intentionally setting time aside to like work on it collaboratively. I would absolutely love to help. That's not on a Wednesday because Wednesdays do not work for me.
All right. Anything else on that? No. Okay, so the last thing on Cat's note here, donations, board members, if you know how much you plan to donate, please just tell us so that we can pencil that in. And it makes the budgeting a lot less scary. Or if you have questions about other ways you can donate as well, such as donating stock or other things, like just reach out. We'll figure it out. I do want to set up our stock, whatever this year, so that stock will be donated. I don't know what's involved in that. That might be a fun topic for next meeting, but it is something that makes more sense to me now than it used to personally, and so I'm probably gonna figure out what is needed to make that happen.
Yeah, we should talk about that because then who's responsible for managing those stocks that have been donated?
Yeah,
Right?
and like, do you want to diversify them or hold them or like is it
Yeah.
restricted? Like
There's a lot involved there besides just getting the stocks to the
Yeah,
board, right?
yeah,
So if you're into that, I'd take a meeting and we could chat that out.
sure,
You want to set that up?
love that. Yeah. I think that was the last point on development here. Any other comments, questions about development? Are you good, Zach? All right, well, we'll leave the best for last. We're gonna talk about finance and administration. I'm gonna love it. Who wants to talk about it first? Desert or are they? Treasurer's report? Treasurer's report. Should we do the treasurer's report?
Sure.
I think we should do it. I included a link in the agenda, but Desert also emailed it, so. See that?
It's also gonna be in chat here in just a second. Too long. Yeah, it's my first time actually doing the report. I had kind of forgotten about it, until last night, after I did all, like, the actual reporting about this document, so I think I filled it out right. In this document, you're gonna find the links to all the financial reports for Q2. And the living budget will contain the PDF, which is a condensed version, hopefully easier to read for everybody. As well as there's a PDF of the full version, if you don't want to mess with spreadsheets. I'm not, unless people are interested in walking through this, I'm not inclined to do so. The highlights are in the report, mainly that we're at 80%, 88% of our total revenue for this year at 50%, right? Keep in mind, this report goes up until the end of June, so does not include a lot of the ins and outs for Northwest Flow Fest, which will finalize in July. And so at our next board meeting for Q3, all of that will be reflected in the year to date. Okay. Let's jump back to the agenda. I spent a lot of time trying to update the format, and for usability, feedback is great. Give me, loving or critical feedback if you want changes or see things on there that aren't there yet. The 25K grant that we got, we should put to use, right? It's just sitting in the account right now. We should either carve it off to specific program expenses that we can foresee, or move it into some kind of an investment options, and we'll get to that in just a minute. We're at 40% of our expenditures, so we're doing pretty good on our net in general right now. The fact that we're at 88% though shouldn't mean that we lose focus in both the end of the year campaign. If we have one this year, I wasn't sure we are going to have an end of the year, just not a give big campaign, right? That was the change, I think. Okay. So that's great. We are over in 2 of our categories. Our software cloud services, that's largely due to increases in Intuit's fee, which is a monthly platform fee for QuickBooks Online. And that increase gave us the class report, which I find very insightful for understanding how our programs are doing overall. The draft budget is there. This is the one that was approved back in January. If you want to go back and compare that for any reason, it's included. I don't think there's a whole lot there unless you're trying to compare where we are and what we thought we were going to be. I did not get the new budget done this year for this meeting. I'll have it probably for our next. The template will be based off of what we know for our fixed expenses and what we know for our variable costs that are still reoccurring. Statement of activity. So if we open that, you'll see that broken down as 2 sheets. It spans horizontally. Again, there's too much here for us to dig in unless people have specific questions. Give it a review. In general, all our programs are doing great, right? The ones that have expenses have income to match those expenses in general. Okay, and if they don't, we have enough revenue right now, largely thanks again to that grant. Kindle, like Arlene said earlier, is fully integrated into our MakeBooks. Zoe has been great to work with, is showing up, delivering the documents by the times they're needed. Blaze, did you have a hand up, Blaze? No, okay.
Just really happy to hear that.
Yeah. So that's moving along, which should alleviate one of the stressors about tax numbers for our reporting. As Arlene said, it's just part of our books now, so there won't be this push to, we need these numbers by this date line. financial position. So this document, I can't actually remove Kindle's numbers from. So it's in there, just when you're looking at the numbers, subtract it. Are there any questions about the statement of financial position? And we can come back if you need time to look at these things while I'm, monotoning, just let me know. Largest section of this report has to do with planning for growth options. And this is all the same information I sent out in email last week or the week before. I got a few responses, appreciate those. Anybody else wants to chime in, please do so. But Blaze, I'd like for you and I to plan specific dates to either go to the bank physically if that's what's required, the US Bank who holds our current CDs, and BECU to, move this money around sometime, I don't know, second week of August, because that one CD matures in the 16th. So third week of August, I guess, second half of August, somewhere in there. Pending anybody from the board, wanting to discuss any specific point of that plan. Sound good? What do you think?
It sounds like I just need to plan a date at the bank.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at those, actually. Okay, yeah. So we'll do that.
Right. So theoretically, if everything worked out, and it won't work out by like the theory math that you see me working out in that table, but we could be looking somewhere around 3,000 a year just in interest returns. If we manage those very low CDs, very low risk investment options. Which ain't bad. That's nothing to scoff at, right? That's like a whole program's budget that we're just getting. Right? Now, for all the time I've put into this over the last while, I actually don't have a whole lot to say that isn't looking at the each individual number and cell, which I could talk about for a long time. I way over prep for this meeting, I'm quite certain. So come on, ask me something hard. Someone please make it worth my while. Come on.
Question.
Blaze.
If we have another downturn in a year, do we not do CDs and we do something else? Like, what's I guess it doesn't matter, we're not there yet, but I'm curious, like,
I mean, we're getting pretty close. The SAM indicator was triggered yesterday, I think.
okay.
Which so that means that the 3-month unemployment average spiked 0.5% over the 12-month average, which is historically the most reliable indicator of a recession within the next 3 months. The only time it wasn't accurate, the recession was 6 months out, not 3 months out. That was 1959.
Recession, just kidding.
So yeah, CD's great for now, I think. And then when assets are cheap, maybe we do something technically higher risk, but actually low risk given the economic situation.
So depending on if that happens, where we are in our investment maturity cycle, all of that would have to be considered at that time. Because I'm proposing a pretty diverse between 7, 11, and maybe some 18-month CD options.
So that we do have this like rolling.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
The difficulty with that is it's higher overhead to manage. right? Like, we found out that if you miss one of these CD reinvestment times, it like the percentage of return drops to virtual zero. So if we miss them, it sucks. Right? But for what I'm proposing, at least for two of those options, I'll still be the one doing it. For sure, so I'm fine with that. Any questions? There are some further changes to the living budget document that brings us a little more sanity around some of the categorization and subtotals. The other expenses kind of drives me crazy. Right, those need to be better categorized. So I'll be working on that, and you'll see that at least the next board meeting, unless you look at the many emails I send, they'll probably be in there somewhere. All right, that's what I got for the finances. We're doing great. Thanks so hard for that grant, and let's not slow down because of it. Right? Yeah.
I have a couple things that I would love to bring up in lieu of this financial report from Desert. I want to give away more money. I want to spend money to support our mission. I have three things, and I'm just going to say them all at once, and then we can discuss them or do whatever. We don't have to make a decision today, but whatever. I just want to say them out loud to the board. I would like to. I think when when we went through the proposal with Z for the Fire Jam producer, their amount that they asked for was 300. We ended up doing 2. I think we should do 3 and retroactively pay them for the last jam. I would like to come up with a stipend for event hosts. And I would like to send Kindle $1,000. Just cause. And I think that we I agree with Desert. I don't want us to do the oh, we got money, let's just set it all on fire. But I think that those 3 things are again, in support of our mission, in that they make our programs more sustainable for the people operating them, especially the Fire Jam has been pretty rough for folks. I think we should also invest in, and this will be a merch thing, but having volunteer merch or some sort of signifier that you did the thing would also be a worthy investment. And I think that if in the future we can't afford to do those things anymore, then we can change it when that happens. But yeah, I think that the overall amount that would cost is going to be worth the return on that investment.
I think that those are all great places to spend more money. I don't think overall those are individually expenses that are particularly budget significant. I mean, they're budget relevant, but not a big bump. The Fire Jam producer increase is an obvious one, and we don't do enough of those that's even going to exceed a difference of $500, right? So that's an easy yes. We should spend some time getting a proposal together for what an event host stipend would look like, because that's something we'll be then expected to maintain into the future. And who knows what the future holds, right? So that's something we need to be cautious with a bit. And yeah, so I think all of it is stuff that like we just need to see a summary of what those expenses would look like so we can make a determination as to whether or not we want to do it. So like little 1/2 page proposals for each one kind of thing. Not even.
That could happen. I'm writing a note about it. I might loop in Tori to talk about, to like figure out what a host stipend would look like or how to set that up, because I feel like I think that would be good to do. She's one of the people who would be getting it. And also she has like, yeah, I would just be curious what her thoughts are on that. So I will loop her in to that convo. I would like to move somewhat quickly on sending Kindle $1,000. Just because, so I will do that one probably first and ask for kind of a short. How do we do this? Like, who gets to make a decision about whether or not we give $1,000 to one of our fiscal sponsors? Like, how does that work?
So I think we need to check your delegation of authority and see what the limit is there. If it exceeds the limit, we'll need a motion from the board to authorize, and then once you're authorized, you can do it.
Okay.
So in that vein then, I'm pretty sure it's like $1,000,
I think so too.
right around, maybe a little bit higher. But that
Sounds
is
right.
that considered per action, per program?
I think
Like,
it's like per act, like one action.
Yeah, we just need to check the language
my
of the
understanding.
delegation of authority. Does anybody have that handy?
No.
Or
Sorry.
it's okay.
It was, but yeah.
yeah, I was looking at it earlier.
Don't worry.
I
Okay.
just gotta find
Somebody
And I would like to see with a contribution to Kindle some sort of a like direction from us on where it's going, right? Not that I don't think they could make good use of it, but I think it supports us expressing our values through that, right? So it could be areas where Kindle just like is like, hey, we could use support for this department, or it could be like something that we want to be more directive of.
Do people in this room have opinions on where they might want to direct funding for the event?
I think that I would like to see if we were to be providing direction, like physical accessibility, if depending on what their decisions have been, or I'm not tapped in at all anymore, right? But I think that having resources to promote people with, you know, physical disabilities getting around the event was really valuable last year, and seeing that supported again, I think would be really valuable. If depending on what's going on there, I don't know what the needs are and where like things are. I don't know where cuts have been made, right? Because I'm not involved. But that's a space that I think is really valuable for the event, where I suspect a cut might have been made because I was a strong advocate making that happen last time. Also, that could be also a thing where it's a funds for supporting a shuttle from the city into the event, right? To help support people getting to the event in a safer way, or if they don't have a vehicle. Because that ties into both BIPOC accessibility and into fiscal accessibility, wherein, you know, people who can't afford to have a car can still make it to the event.
Great.
Yeah, I propose we ask them.
Yeah, totally.
Where like we'd like to give you $1,000 and we'd like you to tell us where you think that that's gonna be best spent. And see if we like whatever they give us. Like they know where they're gonna need that money more than anybody who isn't a director will, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So let's ask them, but that for us, like, so it's per action, it's a bank transfer, it can happen in a matter of minutes once we agree on, you know, internally for SFAC, how we want to do it, right? The doing of the thing is virtually instantaneous.
Rad. Okay. Well, that'll be a fun email to write.
Cool.
I'll send it right after I send the one asking them for feedback on the MOU.
Do it in the same thing, that way they know that, you know, that they had to read to do the MOU thing. I do that regularly with my emails.
But yeah, I agree with that stuff. Yeah, could ask them, could be artist pay, could be Spark program, physical accessibility, financial accessibility.
I'd rather see it go to things that are contributing to attendee experience over artist pay, to be honest. I know that's kind of a harsh way to go with it, but I would like to see it going into something that is focused on like attendee experience.
Okay.
I mean, I particularly agree on the accessibility issue. I think it's huge. That hill is monstrous, and people getting up and down it's got to be an issue for at least a few folks.
Sweet.
More than a few, to be honest. From my experience over the years, a lot of people have a lot of trouble with moving around the site.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Marlene,
Mhm.
yeah, for the other 2 items, the pay for the Fire Jam producer, I think yes. Like, is anybody asking? I didn't hear anybody ask for anything for that one. So that seems like we can just make that happen. Like that can just happen.
Yeah, I agree with what Zach said, that at the end of the day, over the course of the year, it's probably like an extra 500 to make that change, which is like pretty small for the impact I think that would have for the producer.
Yeah. For the hosting stipend, you know, at $50 it's like $2,400, right? Something like that. Assuming 52 weeks events a year, you know, once a week. So even that isn't a big hit to us. If we double that, that becomes more significant if we landed on 100. So I'd be interested in what you come back from Tori for mostly that number. Zach, you mentioned expectations. Did you mean expectations of someone who might be moving into that position to be paid this amount?
Sorry. I'm recovering from East Coast allergies, and so I've got a lot of coughing going on. I think it's expectations of people moving into it, as well as year over year expecting it to continue to be stipended. And so when you set a stipend, it is very difficult to move that stipend down in amount due to the challenges being faced by the organization, right? And so I want it to be a sufficient gift that it's a like reasonable thank you to the people doing the thing. But I also want us to be cautious because, you know, Spin Jam happens weekly, or, you know, and so that if that number is 50, then over the course of a year, that is 200 and wait, Math. That's 2,600 and whatever dollars, right? $2,600. Done. Mathed. I think I did it. I don't think I did it. I think I got it wrong.
I love
200. No. I hate my brain.
roughly, roughly $2,000.
$2,600. I did it right. I got it right. And then I doubted myself because Desert was making a face.
Oh, I'm just making a face because I just gave that information not 5 minutes
sorry.
ago.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's sorry. That's
No,
the
no.
thing, right?
And that's $2,600. That's that the reason I threw that number out there, right, is I was looking for a number that would potentially be sustainable from our investment returns. And if our investment returns can reach 3,100, then 26 would be less. That's like a goal I would like us to see the org reach, is that we're able to pay our regular hosts and producers based on the interest of the accounts that are secure. And then our revenue would go to pay for the other types of expenses. Specifically, I do agree that there's some expectation. I also think that if you're going to sign up to be a host, there needs to be a conversation like, hey, we're a nonprofit, it's feast or famine sometimes. Like, if you're doing this for the money, you need to let us know because we need to consider that. Right. And yeah, I think I agree it's hard to change stipends, but I don't think that they're like written in stone.
No, they definitely are. It's just a thing where it's good to have a note of caution, especially if someone's been doing it for a while and then we need to reduce it. If they're getting 2,600 a year, for instance, like we've just mentioned, that's a chunk of your like income for the year. Maybe not a super significant one, but if you're only making 35K a year, maybe it is, and so it's worth making sure that anybody doing that role understands that it's dependent on funding availability.
Yeah, I agree with that because it would probably be one of the first. Well, I don't know. Who knows? It's like what ifism, right? Like who knows what this future scenario is that we're not currently experiencing, but yeah, I agree with that.
But a little stipend also, helps pay for gas for somebody traveling to host something, right? And that means something.
Yeah.
That really does.
Yeah.
What if we just this is a silly idea, maybe. What if we set up mileage reimbursement for hosts? Instead of a stipend outright, what if we set up a mileage reimbursement at the federal rate of 62.5 cents per 4 cents per mile? Something like that.
I'd probably go with the higher end of 0.78.
Yeah, fair.
But I'd rather not, frankly.
That's more
administrative
paperwork.
Overhead.
Yeah.
Is...
Yes.
Totally. Nope.
Yeah.
Good call. More paperwork. Not worth it.
I'm down for flat rate land.
Yeah.
Flat rate sounds great. Yep.
Set it at $69.
By 50, but that's $3,450.
Oh my god.
Oh
my god.
Time check, and I do have a hard swap at noon
Yep.
for another call.
Chill. Yeah, and I do have I know the board retreat is on the next
Yes.
group, and I have words.
Right. I have not spoken about this at all, actually. Personally, I'm in favor of all three, but I do want more details so that, it stays on the rails. Specifically for stipends, we do need to look into the rules, make sure we're doing it correctly, because typically those will result in an under minimum wage situation if it was considered not volunteering. So, you need to be aware of that. But I just think it could be made straightforward because hopefully the hosts aren't changing every week. Hopefully. All right. And are there any other topics on this that we want to write down and table? We got a bunch of ideas in there, but okay. Cool. All right. I would like to move on to Board of Directors Board Retreat. Arlene sent a link to a place.
Yeah. And I want to reserve it. Does it, I know not everyone here, let me put it in the chat
I'm looking.
for people. Parking seems like it will probably be fine so long as a couple people carpool. She said probably up to 6 vehicles, 5 definitely, 6 maybe, and I really believe in our ability to festival park this cabin. And then Wi-Fi was a concern, and they were like, yeah, the Wi-Fi works. Sometimes it doesn't work because it's in the woods. But it is like strong enough Wi-Fi for them to run their business that they own from the cabin. But it has enough beds, like separate beds. It sleeps 15, so it's and there is, I think the living room space is like actually proper. It's like big. It seems nice. If no one has any objections, I might do it.
Sounds good.
Yes.
I think it looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a little bedroom sharing, but there's like, but yeah, I think there's 8 separate beds. So,
Okay, yeah,
There's
looks
some-
like it works.
Looks nice. Yeah. It's a bit.
4 hours. All right.
okay, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it's a little south. I know there was discussion about like doing Camp Long in Seattle, but like I think there's actually a lot of value to getting out of the place that we all live. So I wanted to actually get us out of the city, and yeah. So that's what I chose. And I will reserve it.
Sweet. That's exciting. I will of course bring the gigantic whiteboard of understanding and the box of whiteboard markers and so on. We should, you know, after we get back from Kindle, sort of percolate what exactly we want to spend our time on. So we always come in with very few ideas, and then there's like 5,000 things we want to do on the board. So yeah. I know something that I do want to prep before that meeting is getting people thinking about board recruiting. More specifically, I would like people to come up with a short list of people that they want to approach or otherwise rope into a conversation with me or other people on the board. And I would love a lot of those conversations to happen at Kindle, because if the people are there, you will have way more opportunities to have an awkward conversation about joining a nonprofit board than you would at Flowshop. I'm not saying we shouldn't have those conversations at Flowshop. I'm saying be strategic. There's several people I want to talk to around a campfire before asking them to join or whatever. So, do get the gears going. I would like, after Kindle, to start some rounds of interviews and have the pipeline kind of run at that time before we all disappear for break again. And also trying to do them one-off is just not as time efficient, and this is not my favorite thing in the world to do, but it's really important, so I want to help us all sort of get into a season for recruiting. Other than that nice idea, I have not done a lot of concrete work. I just switched jobs back to the team that loves me, and so I'm still switching gears in Headspace. But yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back and building shit and writing words and stuff. And that's gonna be really nice. I do think we're gonna have a lot of thinking at the board retreat about what are our goals now? Because we look at the goals from 4 years ago, like all the material ones that I can think of, besides owning a building, are like kind of somewhere in the past, right? So I'm really excited to see where people are sitting after 4.5 years of doing this somehow. It's crazy. All right, that's enough rambling from the chair. I don't have anything else to say at this point, other than I've been taking this meeting from the Tokeland Hotel in Tokeland, Washington, and it's great. Most number site in the first 5 years. That's right. We are almost past the like big chicken mark or whatever. We're officially now baby. Yeah, it's great. All right. Anyone else have comments, questions? Zach.
I want to circle back to I guess community outreach technically. We had fix that right there. There was a suggestion, I think, from Roxy of in the chat about checking out the Duwamish River Festival that's happening, I think, this coming weekend. Wait, now?
It starts in
Today.
7 minutes.
It's today. Okay. Well, that's a little late for suggesting people go to it. I'm just gonna throw it out there that like cultural events like this are a great way to get to know a community and figure out how we can contribute and interact with them in a way that's useful to them. But that is starting today, and so we're a little late on strategizing that kind of a thing. But you know, that's just a thing that I think would be cool to have us forge connections to. Yeah. So anyway, too late. Never mind. All good.
Would you put just like the link or like the organization?
I literally just closed it in my browser.
The River Festival.
Duwamish River Festival.
Got it right here.
Yeah,
Dropping it in the chat.
Yeah, because I would like to have
There you go.
it
Thank you, Desert.
just so we can. Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah, I think that would be great also. There's so many like of these little I would love to like for next summer have the forethought to have like an activated team of people who are into doing the SFAC booth. Because there's so many of these events and that's such a fun job. That's like one of my favorite things that I do as a like in my job is to go to these events and just like do pop-up flow jams and lessons. And it's I think it really again just like hits really lovely notes with our mission to do those. And there's a lot of different types of community that we can connect to and yeah. Oh my God, we could have like a sign up sheet. We could like know what the events were earlier in the year, and then we could have like a sign up sheet and people could fill it out.
So-
Oh my God.
Like, not just have the bigger banner and look polished, but actually be polished is what you're saying. Got
I'm
it. Okay.
suggesting, yes.
I can get down with this.
It's a lot. But they're really
This-
like they're not that hard to like prepare for. There's not actually a lot of prep. You just have to go to the storage unit is like the only thing. So
This canopy isn't small, by the way. It's heavy. Yeah.
Oh, cool, Desert. You're heading to the River Festival?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I think with any of these festivals, like, the first step is just us tooling around and being like, where could we fit in? You know? And so that's
won't,
perfect.
I personally am I like volunteer for some of the local events,
Fuck
the
yeah,
parking and stuff.
totally. I mean, that's a way to get involved, right? That's brilliant.
It's not completely altruistic, if I'm being honest. It's wanting to connect with other organizations that have similar missions, but the balance between ensuring that we're not allowed to get into politics, right? As a 501c3. So there's a balance there.
Definitely.
And I saw a bunch of chatter about land acknowledgements again, and I know this is an ongoing conversation, and I'm down to have it with whoever wants to have it, but I will continue to maintain that we have no business in that space right now.
I would have that conversation when we have more than 3 minutes to have it.
Totally.
Yeah, I think it's bigger than 3-minute conversation. All right. That's
Should
all I had on that.
All right. I think we're ready for any more topics. All right. I think Eileen, you good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I think we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Moved.
Second.
A second. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We did it. All right. Recording can end.
Sweet.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, y'all. I'm sad all the community people left when we started. I know it's like so rare that the money is the most exciting part, but I'm like, oh, this was actually exciting. That's okay.
Yeah.
Stop
We should-
recording.
Yeah.
That was
Well-
exciting. And I get why community members like bounce during that.
Yeah.
I put it first in my board agendas, or like item 3 or 4, I think, with all of my project updates, which is like the exciting stuff towards the end,
Oh, that's a good idea.
with the idea of trying to make people stay longer. I don't know if it works.
Still recording.